This is the plaintiff, Johnny Brown. He says he hired the defendant to work on his classic '67 Camaro, a show and race car. This guy's a rip-off artist who charged him twice for the same parts, overcharged him on others, and didn't do all the work he was hired to do. He's not about to let him get away with totally ripping him off. That's why he's here suing him for the $1,749.99 he's owed. This is the defendant, Kelly Knightling. He says the plaintiff wanted to drag race his car, so he did some work on it and spent 70 hours of labor giving him what he wanted. He doesn't know why the plaintiff thinks he was charged twice for parts, but that's not the case, and he'll prove it here today. Bottom line, the plaintiff kept adding new work, not in the original estimate. That's why his bill was more expensive than he thought it would be. He's accused of being a drag. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,775 for underpaid labor.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff hired the defendant to work in a '67 Camaro, and he grossly overcharged him. But the defendant says the plaintiff's a drag racer who kept piling on the work. It's the case of, you're dragging me down, bro.
Thank you, Douglas. Johnny Brown, you are suing Kelly Knightling, owner of Mr. Fix-It Auto. You're suing his company for $1,749.99 for the amount you feel you overpaid for car parts and for having to finish the job elsewhere, you say. Tell me what happened here.
I went to the defendant to do a '67 Camaro for me, wheel tubbing.
To do wheel tubbing. Tell us what wheel tubbing is.
It's to get a wider tire on the back.
In order
to, you can race with it. You get you hook better.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How old are you? I shouldn't ask that, because I should not ask that. That thrill can be present for people of all ages. All right, so go ahead.
And then the tire won't stick out past the car. Everything will be underneath the car.
Right.
All right. So I went to him and asked him how much would he charge me to do that.
Okay.
And he told me X amount of dollars.
What was the X?
$2,105 for the parts.
Uh-huh. And how much for the labor?
The labor would be $1,500.
Okay, and that was exactly to do what job?
The wheel tubbing.
Okay, any interior work?
That should have went with it.
Well, so say you, but what does, is there an original estimate?
He told me he'd go with it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, can I see the original estimate?
He has the original estimate, but I have a copy of the portion that he filed with the court.
Yeah, but why don't you have the original estimate?
The computer program I use for estimates and invoices automatically changes it as I update.
Can I please see the original estimate? Your version is he told you he was going to do the work, because apparently you have to do something in the back seat inside when you wheel tub. And according to you, you guys talked about it, and he said, I'll take care of that.
He'll take care of it.
And according to you?
I took it to the upholstery shop. They said they can't get to it for 3 weeks, and he wanted to pick the car up.
Okay, so you are supposed to take care of it, though?
Well, I never charged him to do that portion.
Okay, that's why I need to see the original estimate, because if he's saying it's included, I need to see whether it was included. Mini tub kit, rear disc brake conversion, heights 67, 69 Camaro 4-link, coilover shocks, heights.
The mini tub kit is the actual inner fender well that is going to be welded in after I cut the old one out. The rear disc brake conversion, he wanted that done as well. And then the 4-link suspension setup, which I received the wrong one the first order, so I had to send it back, and he wanted to expedite it, so he gave me more money in order to order it right there on the spot.
Okay. And the real debate here is that he feels like he paid twice for the car parts because of that.
I understand where he might think that, but it's right on the invoice. He only paid for the parts that actually went on his car.
Okay. So let's talk about what you paid and when you paid it so that maybe we can go through this here. Go ahead.
Well, I paid him $2,100. I gave him $2,105 at first.
Yep, and there's a credit for it there. And then what'd you pay?
One day I gave him $1,000.
And then another day you gave him what?
$1,800.
That's $49.05, and he says you paid him $5,191.77. We're going to go with his facts. All right. So he says that's the total that you paid. Now I need to figure out what's the total that you were billed. So I'm looking at this last receipt. And what is your premise, sir? You've come to court to sue because you feel what?
How I feel he's overcharged me?
How?
Well, the parts, I shouldn't have to pay for parts twice.
That's been what you've always said. There's never been a dispute about labor costs. It's been that you feel that you paid twice for parts. And yeah, I don't see you being charged twice. I see you getting credit for all the money that you paid. So if the question on this lawsuit is, did you pay twice for parts, you didn't, because every penny you paid got credited towards your bill, and there's only one of the parts is there. So long as that side gives you credit for all the money you paid, and you know you're kind of in the dark about how much money you paid. He actually gave you credit for more than the money you paid, if that's all the money you paid. Then he has done right by you. He's not billed, because there's one side is everything you paid, the other side is everything you're being charged. And if we look at the final bill, the money you paid got over there towards all that labor. Now, you have a counterclaim against him for $1,775 for what? Same money he's suing you because he's annoying you?
When you own a 67 Camaro
Oh yeah, of course. They're classics, they're beautiful, and they're just awesome.
and they break down,
Yeah, they do. They're older cars.
but it's worth it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I agree. Going inside the courtroom.
When he came to pay the final bill, he was complaining so much about how much the bill was. The original labor rate was $65 an hour. So I dropped his labor rate to get him out of there, because he was starting to cause problems with my other customers, to $40 an hour.
You settle something with him and say, okay, I'm only going to charge you $40, and then you think that I'm going to turn around and charge him the remaining $20 an hour because you're angry. So I am right. You filed that because you're angry, not because you're legally entitled to it. So on your counterclaim, 0. On his claim against you, 0. It was charged appropriately.
Well, the plaintiff fails to prove his case with evidence here in the People's Court, and it ends up a 0-0 tie. Mr. Brown, I'm sorry, but do you understand the judge's verdict?
I understand, but I don't agree with it.
Don't run away here. I want to ask you a quick question. He claimed before that you wanted all this work done because you wanted to drag race the car. Is that right?
It's a show car.
I know it's a show car, but he said you wanted to drag race it.
No,
You don't look
no,
like a drag racer to
no,
me.
no.
You're not going to let him drag race at this
No,
point, are you? Okay, so that wasn't true.
You ought to see from there, he's lying.
All right, well, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Bad day for you in court. I'm sorry for you. Here comes the defendant now, and you filed a lawsuit, and you had no grounds for that, so it's a
Not
0
really.
tie for you. So you okay with the outcome here?
I'm happy with it.
You are? You think the car is finished as far as you're concerned?
He was happy with the car when he picked it up.
He was?
Yes, he was.
Think it still looks like a show car? Better than it was when he brought it to you?
It was better when I got there, so.
Well, that's what counts. You said he wanted to drag race it. Did he ever tell you that?
He was joking about it every time he come over to the shop. He was there about 3 days a week.
Really?
So,
Did you think he'd drag race it?
well, he said he used to, so.
I'll be darned. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Harvey?
When you take a car in, what you need to do is keep accurate invoices on exactly what they're charging and why.